What's up, YouTube.com? It's your boy, John McGarrett, and today I want to talk about the future a little bit. I kind of want to give my 2 cents on what I think is going to be the only way for people to actually survive. So financially, you know what I mean? And I really think that the only way that that's going to happen is going to be through learning to it's not going to be through education. I mean, in a way it is, but it's not. I don't think that the way that the education system is set up, at least from my knowledge, what I understand is that it's going to be anything that's going to be beneficial for most people. Um, like you go to school and from high school experience, they teach you how to read and write, and they give you skills that allow you to survive in the world. And they only almost get you there is what I feel like, because there's this specialization into mathematics or whatever, and you have shop and the trades and stuff like that, and that's all fine and dandy or whatever. But if you go on for a college degree, from a little bit of research I've done when I was having a friendly debate with my friend, most people seem to be going to college. The most common one, from what I understand, the number one is business degree. And a business degree, from what I understand, I think it's only 9% of the people in the country actually own a business. So if 9% of the people in the country own a business and the median for that is 44K, that's not why they're going to school. I feel like they're going to school to get a job. And if you're going to school to get a job with a business degree, you're going to get some sort of mid-level management position, or maybe not even that, because a lot of people complain about not getting degree or jobs that have anything to do with a degree. But there's a lot of other nuance there that would require this video to go so far off scope that I wouldn't be able to get anything out correctly. At least stay on flow for what I'm trying to talk about. But this business degree, you're going to get a mid-level manager position, and then you're kind of you're stuck. Then I feel like you get put the system. And not to get too cliche or anything like that, but it's a mouse trap. It's to trap you, keep you in the rat wheel, whatever, all the things that people say, the metaphors. But I don't see that being sustainable for people because of things like inflation. The government, if you are on my channel and you watch me play RuneScape or whatever, or anything, understand anything about that, is that as inflation grows, money becomes worth less, right? Because there's more of it or something like that, or the cost of goods is constantly going up and stuff like that. And my own personal experience, I was able to skate through and get, or not really skate, but grind my ass off, woke my ass up 8 years ago, and I started busting my butt. And I finally, I got a house, I got my girl, I got my kids, I got my family or whatever, and we're holding on. But I don't if it's going to get increasingly harder at from where I got lucky, the opportunity was presented to me when I worked hard enough to actually meet the level of it. The doors open when you rise to the occasion. If it's only going to get harder from here, and I live in a relatively easy, I feel a really easy area to make it in America. I feel one piece of advice I would give to people, that if anybody from here is living in a city with over 50,000 people, move to a city with less than 50,000 people. I would go to a town with 10,000 or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever, and just try to figure it out there, because I feel like there's a lot more opportunities in these lower population areas. In terms of cost of living and stuff like that. And it's not going to be true obviously throughout the entire United States, but I would say without giving away who I am or where I live and stuff like that, you're gonna find a lot of, just find areas with really low cost of living and try to make it there, and just take the L. Take the L that you're not gonna be able to live in a glorious city in some mansion or whatever like that, because you got to start somewhere, and property ownership is going to be a huge foothold for you to do that. But anyway, beyond that, I don't think that the way the system is going is going to, the next generation coming up is going to go through their 12 years of high school, then their 12 years of college, and then paying back all those, starting off life with that huge debt. I feel like it's going to force you into positions that they're going to cause the midlife crisis. And hey, that's survival, and people got to do what they got to do. I just don't think that that's going to be sustainable for the future. I think what's going to be sustainable for the future is going to be able to leverage technology that exists today, information technology, large language models specifically, and other things like that. The internet is beautiful, YouTube, whatever, all this stuff, all this media, whatever. Self-education to the point where you're actually producing things, I think is the only way out. So producing goods. Not just going to become a manager at a company that's producing goods, because that company that's producing goods is actually generating the value. They're just paying you a little bit, and that's allowing you to survive. But that's not a life. Like, I feel like the best course of action for people is what I said, like become a producer. Um, I never felt so in control of my life until like I finally like completed my first like charcoal loop. I learned how to make charcoal effectively and like have a system that's pretty scalable. I just haven't pulled the trigger because I'm doing other things right now, but like still, like I've never felt like I've had more control over my life than being able to actually produce something with an inherent value that no one can take away. Yes, on paper it could, you know how the fiat currency messes with the gold standard and they'll buy and dump things and mess with markets. Sure. But like the idea of being able to create something in energy, charcoal, sustainably to a point where I could survive has never given me more a feeling of power. I've never had that feeling of power more than anything else in my entire life. Everything else has always been at the at someone else's permission. Like YouTube, for instance, I've gone from $50 to like $350 a month doing this, and I could have kept going that route, but like, you know, that feeling that I was always on someone's leash just kind of irked me from the whole thing. And I'm still doing it, but more so for fun now instead of trying to focus on it as a job. But it's just, even YouTube in and of itself, because the media apparatus is like, oh, I don't know what, I'm not trying to use terms to sound cool or anything like that, but I'm just trying to find the right words to describe what I'm talking about. Just the systems that are in place right now, they control you, and if you play by the rules, they'll let you play, which is good. That's fine and dandy and stuff like that, but that's not true freedom. And I feel like it leaves you, freedom isn't the point, like survival is, but it just puts you, I just feel like it puts people into a very vulnerable position where like if a semi is coming down the road, you are not allowed to get out of the way type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you try to pull the plug on like a career, you are risking so much. But sometimes that career just gets taken from you, and then what do? You invest so much into somebody else's game that you don't have your own game to play. So what the fuck do you do? And then that's the big glaring picture of the problem with the country not the country, but the world, the system that's being developed. And it's not, this isn't a political video. I don't think a political group is going to fix it. I think that like you as a viewer or whoever, you know, me, myself, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But I really feel that the only way forward to actually like make something of yourself is to go back to square one. How did they do it when none of this existed? And then work your way out from there. Try to find something that's actually you can stand on. Like, what did the frontiersmen do? What did they do after the Bronze Age collapse? How did they come out of that? Like studying that type of shit, and then like emulating those first steps that those people took to go from apocalypse, literal apocalypse from the Bronze Age collapse, to rebuilding society. Like that is like the secret, and I don't think school really teaches that. And again, I will just say I am ignorant of what actually goes on in college campuses and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that there isn't validity to college or education in general. If you are fine with the game that has been made for people to play in, that's all the more power to you. I'm just like, I'm speaking from someone who doesn't fit in. I cannot fit in. Like I said before a little bit when I was talking about my house thing, I pretended that entire grind. And then I sat down with my girlfriend and I said, I ain't going to make another 5 years. I cannot do this. Like I'm capable of working and stuff like that. It's just sure, I'll talk a little bit, like the politics and the backstabbing and everybody's just trying to climb the ladder and they'll do it at your expense. The inauthenticity of relationship that exists in the corporate landscape, in the factory landscape, and in all of these landscapes, there's no love in it. You know what I mean? Saying like there's no actual true family. There's no kinship. And that, like, I can feel it, like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I'm a lot more sensitive to it because I was bullied my whole life and shit like that. But it is true on some level, whether you agree with me all the way or not. But it's just like that lack of inauthenticity. Whoever I am, like, because I'm so raw or destroyed or whatever the fuck was wrong with me, like, I cannot, like, I am constantly in a fight or flight. And if, like, the adrenals are pumping like that nonstop, like, you'll eventually die. So I'm here trying to figure it out my own way. And these are some of the thoughts, some of the conclusions I've came to. So I guess how I'd summarize is that, like, learn to make fucking charcoal, bro. Charcoal's overpowered. I think charcoal's going to wipe everything off the map. When all the fossil fuels are gone, the only thing left will be solar, maybe, if they don't blot the fucking sun out with all the burning and stuff like that. Who knows what's going to happen, but charcoal's always going to be there, baby. So, yeah. But memes aside, not memes aside, I'm pretty much, that's kind of like my big gamble. But anyway, I do believe that wholeheartedly. I do think it's learning to produce things, like learn how to mill a board, chop a tree down, make firewood. How does a wood stove work? How did the old, I don't know, like get a fucking, instead of having to go for a house, get a piece of property, like a half acre in town is like 20 to 40 grand where I'm at. And you can get a land loan for that. It's a little bit more money up front, but you can get that shit and then build that shit yourself. You know what I mean? Over time while you're renting or whatever. Yeah. Like if you buy a house outright, you're investing money down into the principal, but you're also paying a shit ton of interest. And that interest is almost the same price as most people's rent. So like it is a viable strategy to purchase a piece of property, get it to the baseline, legal, livable line, and learn how to build that shit yourself. Fuck, dude. And then like, cause I don't know, I feel like that's coming from a place of power, and you're not coming from a place of power when you're leaving college, $200K in debt, and you're a surgeon, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I don't know. Produce. Don't rely on everybody else to generate value. You know what I'm saying? Because there's like, that's another, I guess I'll keep ranting. Fuck it. There's a bunch of other better ways to make money, but they always leverage somebody else's wealth. You know what I mean? It's never coming from in here or, you know, the thing you actually literally have control over. You know, I'm sending thoughts to my hands to make them do this without thinking. That's control. Like, you don't have control over the markets. You don't have control over your boss. You don't have control over your social circles. You have control pretty much literally over this thing. And some people have low control. Some people have high control based on a bunch of different factors and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, you have control over this. Extract the value from in, out, you know, fall in love, marry someone. I'm not going to say like a woman or a guy or whatever, or gay or whatever. Do whoever you're doing, lock them down, form that kin, build the value from there. Literally create other humans who are going to be you. Or don't, whatever. You know, you have a partnership that's going to be better than just by yourself. Two can pick you up. One, if you fall, one can pick you up. You know what I'm saying? Two's good. Emotional support, financial support, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Physical support. That type of shit. That's where true value is going to come from. Like, relational, and then from yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where, like, that's coming from a position of power. And yeah, you're going to be so tiny compared to everything, but like, at least it's something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like the world today is like, people like me can skirt by and like succeed based on based off other people's outputs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe that's not making too much sense, but what I mean there a little bit is that like marketing is such a good job to get into, but marketing requires other people, you know what I'm saying, for you to like buy from and shit like that. And I'm not saying it's not going to make a lot of money and it's not like valuable, because it is, but I'm saying like all the best ways to make money in the system require the people in the system and like deriving value from them. I'm not making a moral argument there or anything like that. That's just kind of how I see it. And it's like, you know, for a good business, you know, I'm going to start a good hot dog business, but like you don't own anything in the supply chain, and your hot dog business can only work if other people want the hot dog. But like, that's why I'm kind of stumbling through this because I didn't really know how I was even going to make this video, but I said, fuck it, and just turn the camera on. But that's what I'm saying. Hot dogs only work if there's hot dog salesmen, but my lump of charcoal will produce work if I just light it on fire, regardless if people are there or not. But I'm saying like that, I feel like you have a little bit better control. That's what I'm trying to emphasize, this point of like coming from a place of power instead of like jumping into a system that is like out to like, and I'm not going to be like conspiratorial here or boogeyman, trying to like, I don't know, but like I feel like the system's out to get people, bro. And like if you're caught lacking, and I'm not talking about like the hood sense where like you're getting shot up, but like in a way, they're just cutting you while you're not looking. They're taking something from you. Every time you participate in the system, everybody's looking to take something from you. A little bit of your power, just a little bit of it. Can they like for instance, you know, at a job, oh, we really need you, bro. Can you stay a couple extra hours and make this really big sale or get this order done that's going to cost us millions of dollars? Yeah, I could. What are you going to give me? They're like, oh, an hourly wage. There's no social capital that gets bought there. They're just like, from my experience, like they just hope you're a good person so that they can exploit it. But like that is not bad to do for people, and that's not what I'm saying either. Like being gracious and being good to them is good. Like, but like you don't get a lot back. Like, but if you were to have that type of sacrificial attitude for a partner, for your family, for kids, for your kin, you will like. It's just no brainer. You're gonna get a lot higher ROI. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you'll feel good that you helped the company. You didn't screw over your manager so they don't get beat up by their boss or whatever. But like, your manager's gonna like you until they don't again. You know what I'm saying? It's just the world is. I think it's going nowhere fast, and this is just my attempt, I guess, to just try to talk about it, I guess. So, thanks for watching. Peace out. Subscribe and shit. Have a good day.